Hello and welcome to Metal Vice, a podcast where we talk about all things music.
Well, the things we care about.
Right, which is mainly live music and metal music. I'm one of your hosts, Brian, joined by my other host,
Karen.
Karen, what is today's topic?
Today we're going to talk about Spiritbox at the House of Blues.
Yeah, House of Blues here in Chicago on May 8th. They ended up having two shows. This one sold out, I think, so quick, and then they added a second one for May 9th.
Yeah, yep.
We didn't end up going to the May 9th one. We'll talk about the set list here in a little bit when we talk about the bands, but at least for Spiritbox, according to Setlist FM, it's the exact same set they played the night before.
Yeah, I bet all of it's the same. They just played like it was a brand new show, or not brand new show, but
I think so too. And I was thinking about
standalone show.
Yeah, I was trying to think about that too. If they were going to do a different set list, or maybe pick like one or two songs, like switch in and out.
Was this the only city that they did?
I think so.
Yeah. Every show sold out on this entire tour.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah, I saw that on Instagram. Everything said sold out by it.
Even the second one?
Mm-hmm.
Even the second show at Chicago? Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, which I know, like, I think the first show sold out within days.
I don't know. Yeah, I just remember we got tickets, and then I checked again for some reason. I don't know why. Oh, no, I was looking at something else at House of Blues, I think. And I saw they had a second show, and they still had tickets. And I was like, oh, do you want to go to both shows? And you're like, no, we can just go to the one.
Yeah, we had a lot this month. So.
But yeah, like I was trying to think if they were gonna do a unique set list or not, right, for in between nights. And part of me was like, it'd be cool for people who go to both shows, because they did call that out during the show. Like, we'll see some of you tomorrow. Some of you, it's been fun. Thanks so much for coming out. But then I started thinking, like, well, maybe they won't. Maybe it'll just be the same, because the people who didn't go to both shows, you kind of want them to have the same experience potentially.
Yeah, I never had a thought that they were going to play two separate sets. And the only reason why I say that is because this was just an added show. It's not like every single show. So using Metallica as an example, they have their entire tour is two shows per city per weekend.
It is this next leg or this next tour is.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah.
The 72 seasons that they're doing right now, every show or every city has two shows.
Yep.
And it's unique both nights because that's how it was announced. Where this was just we're adding a night.
Because we sold out, we can do it again.
Yeah, so I never personally had a thought that they would do two separate sets. I knew it was going to be the same, and that's probably why I was like, no, I don't need to go see it again.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this too, where we like to see bands, or I like to see bands have different set lists between shows they play. Not many, I feel like, do that. I think a lot of them do the same set for the entire tour. Maybe you might get one or two songs different, and that's kind of how Metallica's done it in the past, is you get 2 to 3 songs that are unique for that particular night. Like, they're not going to do the same one back-to-back, like, same set list.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So, like, for a normal tour, like, if they were just doing one show per city, it would be maybe different if they do it in Chicago versus Denver.
Yeah, think about when we saw them last year. We saw them in Vegas, and then we saw them at Lolla, and Lolla was basically the exact same set list they had at Vegas with 3 unique songs, I think it was. Dirty Windows, Whiskey in the Jar, and I can't remember something else.
Well, Whiskey in the Jar was at Lolla.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, are you talking about... Sorry, I thought you were talking about Vegas.
No. Vegas was the first one we went to. And
Yeah.
But, yeah, we'll get into that a little bit more, I think, when we get into the actual Spiritbox review and sort of chat about that. But one thing I didn't mention, ticket prices. $32.50 for these tickets, $12.50 in fees, and then a whopping 13 cents in tax.
Yeah, I don't get that.
This was part of the Eternal Blue tour.
Which was their new album?
Yes, I believe it's their newest album. It's the one with Holy Roller on it that we
really?
heard them last year. Yep.
Oh, man. I figured that would be a song that they've had for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, we found Spiritbox
late last year.
Yeah, I heard of them, but I didn't know their music. Yeah, it was one of those things where, like, I mean, I'm always on Instagram. I feel like every single episode I'm like, I saw it on Instagram, but I like doing that where I just like scroll Instagram so I hear all these things.
I guess, I'm not really on Instagram that much, or I'm on like Reddit and that's about it. And I don't really follow any subreddits around like heavy metal other than like vinyl, and then like some bands I will follow, but mostly I don't follow.
But it's bands you know.
Yeah.
You're not like just scrolling what do they call like this? I don't even know what that's called, but
scrolling your feed.
Well, it's not even because it's not on my feed because I don't like them. It's on, I don't know, on Instagram. It's like you search, but you don't have to really like type in a search.
Oh, and
you
it just like
it just populates things that you could be into.
pop other things up that
Yeah.
if you like this, you might like this. The algorithm's like
Yeah.
finding what you need.
Yes, that's the algorithm is doing it. Yeah.
We also didn't mention the openers for this particular show, which
Okay.
was After the Burial and Intervals. Both bands I was unfamiliar with going into the evening.
Yeah, I didn't know about Intervals. After the Burial, I've heard of, but I didn't know their music.
And this show started pretty early.
Oh my gosh,
6
yes.
p.m. I think is when it started.
Yes.
Which actually didn't start at 6 p.m. It was
5 something.
5:54, I think. They started 6 minutes early.
Yeah, I knew it was early. It's just so weird to be at a venue at 5 o'clock with 3 bands and have the show start at 6.
Yeah, doors opened at 5, show at 6 or a few minutes before. Yes, we're on stage left. So as we said in a past show, you can't remember what one. I think it was Whitechapel.
Whitechapel, we could see the clock.
Where you can see the clock from that side, and we think that's for the band to see like, hey, here's what time you have left.
I think so, or somebody on backstage somewhere to see what's going on.
And that like I think Reggie's, we noticed it was like straight behind. Like I think that's at a lot of venues they have this kind of clock thing. I've just never picked up at many venues. It's this one and Reggie's are the two main ones that I've seen it as like an indicator to here's what time it is and you know what time you need to be off type thing.
I think probably every venue has some sort of clock. It's just where it's located versus where where people can see it or not. So
right. So I mean, I think during the Whitechapel when we talked about that, it was a little distracting because you knew like, all right, I know this has to be over at X time.
Yeah.
And I've also mentioned that with sort of bands playing complete song or albums or something where I don't like that because you know the formula and you can kind of figure out how much time's left and what's going to happen next type thing.
Yeah. And Whitechapel is double of that because they were playing the full album plus you could see the clock.
And you could see the clock, exactly. Yeah. So for me at least, it's a little distracting at times. But as you mentioned, this is crazy early.
Yeah.
And there's only 3 bands. So unless they play an hour each, or at least the openers each get an hour, they're not going to play that long.
Yeah, yeah. I was trying to figure it out, like if they were going to play hour, 2 hours or something, but
it really wasn't. It was the normal sort of 30, or
30, 45, and then...
Yeah, I think they got a little bit more time because it was only the 3. But, I mean, the intervals came on. They only had 8 tracks. They came out to Alchemy, followed by Metahira, Lunar Tick, 5-HTP, Lock and Key, Touch and Go, Leave No Stone, and String Theory. So just 8 songs. But, again, like it was 30 minutes or so for them.
Yeah, I think it was just at 30 minutes probably.
So then from that point forward, you know it's going to be like a normal concert, and you're getting out of here pretty early.
Yeah. I think I even, after interval set, I actually looked up, because on Set List FM, they have like the length of the concert or something that. And I looked up and I was just like, yeah, we're going to be done by 9:30.
I remember you showing me the Spiritbox's time, and it was like an hour and 12 minutes that the previous show they had played or something like that.
Yeah, which I'm wondering, I think it was a little bit longer than that. I'm wondering if that's based on the time of the songs.
I think so, like the length.
And then, I mean, obviously there's some banter in between and stuff. So.
Yeah. But Intervals came out, played Alchemy, and they played it, and I loved it. I was like, oh, this is so much cool. You're just coming out, you're jamming. Like I said, we've never had any experience with this band or know much about this band. Actually knew nothing about this band.
Yeah, I didn't know who they were or what they...
And I just thought it was like them jamming for a little bit, just like intro type thing. Like, hey, we're just going to hang out for a little bit and have some fun. Then we're going to get into the songs. And got over and was like, hey, thanks for coming out. Good to see you, Chicago. We got some music we're going to play for you. Let's have some fun. And pick up the next song. And no lyric, just all instrumentals. And I was like, oh, shit. Is this just an all-instrumental act? This is kind of cool. And sure enough, that's exactly what this was an all-instrumental act. I know you're not the biggest fan of only instrumental stuff.
No, not really.
When you kind of when did you put the pieces together?
So during the first song, they were obviously only playing music or playing their instruments. And I kind of looked around like, is there even a mic on the stage? Like that was the first thing I looked for. And I was like, oh, there is. There's a mic. So in my mind, I thought it was that they were going to start playing. And then at the time, because I think we talked about this a couple episodes ago, but like at the time that the like lyrics kick in, then the vocalist would come out and sing.
Yep.
Like, so it'd be like, oh, we're just going to sing a little bit or play a little bit and then the vocalist will come out. But after he stepped up to the mic and was like, hey, Chicago, like, I don't know. I don't remember what he said. When he did his little thing, that's when I was like, this is only going to be music. There's going to be no lyrics.
Yeah. And I think it was the next song or soon after this where he again takes the mic in between songs and it's like, all right, we're gonna play some notes for you. And like that was the solidifying fact too. Because the part was like, well, maybe the first 2 songs are just instrumental, then they're gonna kick in with the vocals afterwards. But then once it was like, we're gonna play some notes for you, it was like, oh, okay, it's gonna be all notes and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I don't want to say that I didn't enjoy it. It was enough songs played, only instrumental. It's not something I wanted. I'm glad it was only 30 minutes. Is not something like maybe 1 or 2 songs, but I don't want to be standing for an hour just listening to music with no lyrics or anything. And also the only other thing that I would say is I think I would enjoy it a little bit more if it was a little heavier. It was very mellow. There was some heavy guitar riffs and some heavy drums, but most of it was pretty mellow.
There were some heavy elements, definitely, but yeah, it was a bit mellow for sure. And
like mellow as in just jamming kind of thing. Yeah,
I mean, it was not super mellow, but in terms of metal,
yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. Yeah, metal mellow.
Yeah, metal mellow. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. But I enjoyed it a lot. I did. Instrumentals for me are some of my favorite tracks on albums.
Yeah.
And I was thinking during this act of, I know the instrumental tracks are usually my favorite tracks on a particular album. Would I like all of an album to be an instrumental? Would I like to go to a performance and see all instrumental stuff? And a part of me says yes, a part of me says no. Like this one I enjoyed it, don't get me wrong, but about halfway through I was like, I'm good, time to move on type thing.
Yeah.
And
that's about where I was. After halfway I was like, okay, like 15 more minutes.
Yeah, and if they're at a festival, I'll definitely like pop in and out of their set and, go see something else and come over see them. But if we're at home just listening to like music, this is definitely something I'll put on and listen to and hang out to. Like I liked it a lot.
Depending on what we're doing, yes. Yeah. But like if we're doing something else, yes. If we're doing it to listen to music, no.
Yeah, I don't know. I could do both. Personally, I could.
Okay.
I know you can't or wouldn't because, like I said, you're not really into just instrumental stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't enjoy it as much.
And so the next day at work, we have a Slack channel for metal music and like metal enthusiasts and whatnot. So everybody posts like new albums that came out and new shows they went to or stuff like that. So I posted like, hey, I saw the Intervals last night, an all instrumental band. It was a pretty decent show. I enjoyed it. It also got me to look at my favorite instrumental song or listen to it again, which is Implements of Destruction by Chimera. I love that track so fucking much. And like seeing the Intervals, like, I want to go back and listen to that track. I haven't listened to it in a little while. So I posted that, and somebody else posted their favorite instrumental song. I haven't listened to it yet. I still need to check that out. And somebody else replied saying, yeah, the intervals are cool. I forgot about those guys. They also used to have a vocalist at one
really?
point. Early on, they had a vocalist for one album, I think.
Oh.
And it was more of a prog metal album than anything else.
I could see that, yeah. And I think that's why I don't like prog metal very much, because it is very instrumental focused. But yeah, I could see them having a prog metal type album.
So I definitely want to check that album out again. I'm gonna look for that and listen to that
Yeah.
eventually. But it's on my list of like to dos and
Yeah.
check out.
Something that you said was listening to them made you think of listening to another band or another song or whatever. And I kind of like that during concerts where I hear something and then I'm like, oh, this sounds like this, or I want to now listen to this song or whatever that I haven't listened to for a long time. Like the next band that we talk about, I have some. Anyways, I'll get to that when we get there because that's jumping ahead. But
and like we said, I was into the music a lot. I just for a live show halfway through, I was a bit done, or I was ready for the next thing, or or for it to pick up and be a little heavier because it like we said, it was mellow metal.
Yeah.
It wasn't as heavy as I probably would have preferred, and I think that's why I like that Instruments of Destruction song. Right? It's pretty fucking heavy.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I think even the crowd aspect of getting into it more would have been more involved if it was heavier. Because otherwise, when you're just listening to instruments and there's not people like singing along or, I mean, there was some clapping and stuff like that along. But I mean, pretty much it's just you're standing there watching the show. Where if it's a little bit heavier, then pits can open up or people can move around more, headbang, like all that stuff, and you kind of get more into it.
Yeah, and this one definitely had a few people who were super fucking into it, which is awesome.
Yeah.
There was one guy who just like kept cheering and screaming like in between every song, and the lead came out. I'm assuming it's Aaron was the lead.
Oh, I don't know.
Was like, this guy's my spirit animal. This guy's fucking awesome. Thanks so much, man. And they're Canadian, so like crazy fucking nice. Like
of course.
The stereotypical Canadian,
Yeah. Maybe we should move to Canada. Then we'll turn nice.
But it was awesome to see, and there were a few people who were getting into it, and that was kind of cool.
I'm not saying that people weren't into it. I'm just saying I think you would get more total crowd.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, it was a pretty quick set. I did enjoy it. Like I said, I'll listen to them again in the background, and I have listened to this entire concert. We added everything to our playlist again, to the concert playlist, and
we should share that again.
Listen, yeah. It's on our.
It's on Spotify, right?
Yeah, it's on Spotify. Both years, 2022 and 2023, are so far. And like we said before, it's just every show we go to. If we like a band, we go find their set list and put that on there in order that we saw it. So it's kind of cool to look back at the end of the year and be like, oh, here's how many songs we listen to. And it's not repeat. So if we see a band multiple times, we only put net new songs on there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think last year we had like 57 hours.
Yeah, I think something, or 60 something or something.
I think it was in the 50s.
50s? Okay.
So far, I looked today because I listened to this whole concert again today. We're at like 23 hours so far.
Oh.
So, and we have a lot more shows coming up. So it's going to be interesting to
see how much it grows. Yeah.
And we're at 335 tracks on it so far.
That's good.
So, I mean,
we've put most bands on there. There's only been a couple that we've left off.
I think so. And I mean, if we can't find the set list, we don't put it on.
Right.
Also.
Well, of course, yeah. We can't put it on if we don't know it.
But even if we know just like one song, I don't want to just put that one song on there. I want to put the whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, it's definitely something I'll listen to again. But if they're opener, I'll go check them out again. But it's not like if they come as a headlining show, it's one of those. I think we need to get better at saying no to shows. So this would be one. If they're a headliner, I'm like, I'm good. But if we absolutely have nothing and have the extra cash, then sure. If it's not that much, we'll go check it. I think.
Yeah. I think we do need to get pickier because we can't sustain this.
Yeah.
But it's also, I agree with you. Like, I mean, this isn't really something I would want to spend too much money to go see if they're headlining, unless depending on who's with them.
That's
I mean,
true.
that could change it. But I would see them at a festival or if they're an opener again. I mean, we show up to most openers, so.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're into instrumental music and really like it like I do, this is definitely worth checking out in my opinion. So
yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, good overall, decent set. I was happy with it. But then we go to After the Burial.
Yes.
They only played 8 songs as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, their songs must be longer then.
Maybe a little bit, but there was also a lot more, I think, crowd interaction during this one. Yeah.
I don't.
There was one part.
This is only a few nights ago, and I still can't remember. Go ahead.
There's one part in the middle where I don't want to say it drug on, but what he was saying was very impactful, very meaningful.
Oh, right, because he talks about.
And we'll get to that.
Oh, okay.
But I do feel like it was a very meaningful thing, and we'll talk about that here shortly. Yeah, started out with Influx, followed by Collapse, Lost in the Static, Nothing Gold, Exit Exists, Death Keeps Us from Living, and that's where, before this song, that's where that
Yeah.
long bit was. And as we'll talk about, it's very meaningful.
It is, yeah.
But it did go on for a while, and I don't want to say it drug on, but the time that took was quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah.
But very meaningful, very good. Loved the message, loved what he was saying. We'll talk about that. After Death Keeps Us from Living, we have A Wolf Amongst Ravens, and then finally, the last song, we have Behold the Crown. Again, this is a band I was unfamiliar with, unaware of, really. I may have heard their name before, but it doesn't really ring a bell to me.
Yeah, I've heard of them, and then they've been on some play. I mean, I think I don't know what playlist I listen to on Spotify, but I listen to playlists a lot because I like a certain band, so then it's like recommended. If you like this band, then you listen to this
The
playlist.
algorithm like picks up what songs you might like. Yeah, it's kind of like a shuffle, but they do their own thing.
Yeah, but I don't recognize any of the songs that I've listened to, so I just know it's been on there.
Yeah, and I mean, they came out right away with Influx, right? And instantly it was a different vibe from the intervals.
Yeah.
It was just heavier, and I really enjoyed it. The crowd got really into it. Pit started opening.
Yeah, when we got there that night, you said, "Oh, there's not going to be pits tonight. It's going to be a very calm crowd." Like, yeah. I figured that there would be some pits and the crowd would be more into it, but I let you have your thoughts.
Well, I wasn't sure, right? Because we didn't know the bands leading up to it, and Spiritbox. We'll get into that here in a little bit, but I wasn't sure if there would be a pit for that or not.
Okay.
But spoiler, there was pits for that too. So I enjoyed it when they came out. It's like, all right, this is a different pace. I'm really excited for this, and
this pace is more like what we've been going to see, lately, and I really enjoy like this type of concert over. I can't really say that though because I enjoy this, but then I also enjoy some slower, softer stuff. Like, I mean, I would even consider some of like Disturbed that way, and like 3 Days Grace, like the laser music.
Yeah.
It's like slower, softer. But then I really enjoy this type of music as well.
Yeah, a little harder, a little faster.
The crowds are better, I think, for these type of shows.
Better might not be the right word, more like enjoyable, maybe. Well, I don't know, maybe. Like, when you say better, I guess, what do you mean by
movement?
Better? Movement. All right, more movement, more... Okay, yeah. I got you.
Which I guess to somebody that might be annoying and horrible, and they don't want that. They just want it to be like a 3 Days Grace concert where people just stand and listen to the music.
Right. I do enjoy the movement a little better, too. We were at Wage War.
Oh, yeah.
And that was probably the best crowd we've had in a while, in my opinion. And the whole crowd was moving. There were some parts where you don't fight it. You just kind of go where you go. You get pushed. You just follow the flow of the beast that is the crowd.
Yep.
The organism.
Which is really fun.
It is, yeah.
Like, I mean, unless, I guess it wouldn't be fun if you got separated from your group or something, but otherwise it is pretty fun just to move wherever you're moving.
But also, like, we think about that, and it's like, if we ever get separated, we haven't ever. But at the same time, if we do, we're in the venue.
Yeah.
There's one exit that we're all going to walk out of.
Yeah.
So just walk there and wait. Like, eventually we'll find each other again.
Yeah. Or we both know that after the concert, we kind of stay on the floor until after people leave, and then we leave. We're not like the sea of...
We don't try to leave right away.
Yeah. Sea of fish. Yeah. We don't like flow all the same way. We just kind of hang back a little bit and then we leave. So,
I mean, as you said, this crowd was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I did enjoy their set a lot. We were on stage left still. We didn't move because it was House of Blues and sold out. So you get your spot, you're fucking staying there unless you want to try to fight to get back. And it might be hard because there's so many people.
Yep.
And as soon as one person leaves, like 8 people move forward to that one spot.
Yeah.
And
I'm really not enjoying the House of Blues anymore.
I'm not either. No, I'm really not.
Like, we have one more concert there and I'm dreading it.
If the floor plan was better, then it was just an open box, like the Radius, not the Radius, well, the Radius too, but also Concord.
Yeah.
It'd be so much better, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. how it's set up is not the best for these types of shows, and like this many people, it's not the best. Where if you had even this type of show is good there. I like it. I used to love it because I could see everything because the stage is high, but it's like just packing in so many people. It's not. Are we just old? Is that what's going on?
I don't think so. Like I don't know what happened. I mean, 2020 happened. But,
yeah. And shows are selling out.
It seems like every show is selling out, which is great.
It is.
It's fucking awesome.
For the bands, it's phenomenal. And for the venues to stay open is phenomenal.
And I mean, for the audience as well, I love sold out crowds because it's so much fun. But not fun if you can't move.
Yeah.
And get around, and like as soon as you move and lose your spot and you can't get back, we did this with Static X. You go to the back, the audio fucking sucked back there for that.
Yeah.
So now the experience is just garbage, and I paid money for bullshit.
Yeah.
But there's other venues where it's so good. Like the audio everywhere is good. There's room that you can
kind of move.
You can kind of move. Like, I don't know. I just really don't like this setup of this venue.
Yeah.
And it's a shame. I used to love this venue so much.
It used to be our top venue of the city.
Yeah.
And we used to be like, we would tell everybody we love House of Blues. It's the venue we go to the most.
To be fair, that was like the only venue I'd been to too.
Yeah, we had been to a couple other ones. Because even over like Aragon and
I
Riviera,
did like it over Aragon, yeah.
Like Aragon and Riviera was like, I don't really like these that much. I like House of Blues so much better. But now I'm at the point where I'm like, I would go to Aragon over House of Blues any day, unless it's 100 degrees out.
Yeah, that's true. But getting back to this particular show, the one thing that did pop out to me being on that side of the stage is we were on the bassist side, and he was fucking going hard. I remember that just fucking bouncing all over the place,
I don't remember
like
that.
head banging all over. It was awesome to watch. He put it on a show. It was amazing.
Yeah. I remember the vocalist a lot, but other than that, I don't really remember the show very much.
The vocalist was great too. He had a lot of energy. I mean, everybody had a lot of energy, and they put on an amazing show. I didn't see this, but I saw it on Instagram, I think, the next day. On the bass side, they had Miller Man come out, which was this guy in Miller 24 packs. Basically, they took like a bunch of Miller 24 packs.
Yeah.
Put one of the boxes on as a helmet, and then cut a bunch of other ones up for like armor. So he had like a chest plate and arm.
Wait, where was this at?
It was at House of Blues. Like
on the stage?
On the stage, he came out for a little bit, did like the robot dance or some shit, and then hopped off the stage.
Holy shit, how did we not see that?
I don't know.
Were we too far off to the side?
No, it was on the bass's side. He came out over to where the bass was standing. We must have been looking somewhere else. Or it was only for like 5 seconds, and then he popped back on.
Yeah, how did we miss that?
But I missed it. It's like, holy shit, that would have been awesome to see.
Was that the night we went, or was that the next night?
It was the night we went, yeah.
How do you know that was the night?
Because I watched it yesterday before the concert.
Oh, okay. Before they held.
Yep.
No, yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday
was the 10th.
Well, whatever. It was
Tuesday.
The day of the second show, I watched it.
Okay.
And they said last night we were graced with Miller Man or something along those lines.
Interesting. Now I'm like racking my brain, like how we missed that.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious, and I wish we had seen that. The other thing that pops is definitely a fresh in my mind, something that I remember, is that sort of speech thing we were talking about.
Oh, right. Yeah, let's talk about that.
With Death Keeps Us From Living. So the lead singer comes out, and he's like, all my life, I've just been constantly around death. Like, I think it was like his mother had passed away, a friend had passed away, another friend had passed away. He had a friend in Chicago who, he's like, what did he say?
Took her life.
She didn't want to be here anymore, so she decided to leave permanently.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
And it was like very sort of poetic-y way of saying took her own life.
And I think their guitarist passed away.
Yeah, that's one of the people who had passed away.
Okay. I didn't hear you say the guitarist.
I did not say the guitarist. You're right.
Yeah.
He had passed away as well. And his whole thing was like, and I think this was around 2022 when he was going through, like everybody was going through like...
2020, you mean?
Yeah, sorry, 2020 with COVID and lockdown and everything. And he's like, yeah, we were all just depressed and...
Well, yeah, because they couldn't play music. I mean, because he was basically like we couldn't do anything. Like their livelihood was taken away from them.
That too, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that was rolled in here. I don't know why I brought that up, but
Wasn't that in the same speech?
it may have been. I can't remember. There were a couple of them.
It was basically like he had nothing to live for. I mean, he had nothing.
Yeah, nothing going on.
And everything that he ever thought about was the death and the how everything was taken away from him.
Yep, and he's like, it's always been just dragging me back. I take one step forward and get pulled 2 steps back by this like constant death in my life and tragedy. And his whole point was, like, that's in the past. You can't do anything about that, and you don't know what the fuck's gonna happen tomorrow. So don't worry about that. Just live in the moment. Enjoy what you have now, because at any moment it could end. And don't worry about the end. Don't worry about the end. Don't worry about what was in the back. Just enjoy the now and be happy, and don't try to control the things you fucking can't control, basically. Yeah.
And there was something about like if you have family or any ties that's like holding you back, just like cut all the strings and just live your life how you want, which personally I feel like we've done pretty well, where we've kind of just said, we don't care what anybody else thinks, we're going to live the life that we want to live. But also to the point of the future is never promised, which I understand. It's never promised. Like, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But I honestly have to have a future planned out for myself, or otherwise it's hard for me to get through the day that I'm living. So that's I like that concept of live in the moment. But for me personally, I feel like I have to have something to look forward to, even if it's tomorrow or a year from now or something. Like, I need something to get through today. Does that make sense?
It does. And you and I are different in this regard.
Totally, 100% different. Yeah.
I think what he was sort of saying, like, don't worry about the past, don't worry about the future, just live now. Like, I think I'm pretty close to living that way now.
Yeah.
There are a few times where I wake up in the morning, it's like, what the fuck did I do last night? And it's like, what? Why would I fucking do that? That's stupid. Don't fucking steal that. What the fuck, asshole? Like, in my head, that's
and then HR calls you?
Yeah. Like, then it's like, shit. All right, what the fuck? Even like the future of like, don't think about the future. Just like, what happens, happens. I think I'm really good at that too. And you and I are completely different. You need to have stuff planned out.
Yeah.
And honestly, it drives me fucking insane sometimes.
I've changed a lot though, where I'm not like planned out to the extent of like, what are we doing every second? But it's mentally, I need something to look forward to. Otherwise, it's very hard to get through the day that I'm living today.
Yeah, and I get that. But sometimes I also feel like it's not all that way with you. Sometimes it is like, well, when are we going to meet up with these people? What time are we getting there? And to me, it's like, I don't know. We'll get there when we get there.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the anxiety for you like picks up. It's like, no, I need to be there at this time. We need to know what's going to happen once we're there.
That's a different anxiety than than like depression of getting through the day.
Yeah.
That's the hard part is, and I'm like laughing now because it's like, I am complicated. But that is definitely the anxiety of like, I need to know how many people are going to be there. What time are we getting there? Where are we going? What's it like there? Like, I need all these things. Where to get through like the depression part of my brain is I need something to look forward to.
Yeah, and I think that's good. Like, you always should have something that like, oh, cool, I'm going to do this. Like, there's this thing ahead that I
have to get to.
And I can, yeah.
That's why we have to have stuff booked all the time.
Yeah, but like I said, it's cool to have stuff planned. Like, oh, cool, I have this show coming up and that's mainly what the stuff now is for us.
Yeah.
Oh, cool, we have this show. Well, what's going to be announced next year? What are we going to do? Like, that kind of stuff is fun. But also, like, walk outside and it's like, well, what direction is we're going to, like, a record store or something. Well, what direction is that? I was like, I don't know. Let's turn left and just go that way and see what happens. And you're like, no, but what if it's right? And it's like, I don't know. I guess we turn around and walk back. We'll figure it out. And you're like, no. We need to. So, I mean, I think that's where we're different. Now, like I said.
Like, I'm going to look up the venue because you don't know exactly where it is tomorrow night.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. But, like, his whole message there, like, I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. And
it was really good. And the guy that was standing next to us actually recorded most of it. Oh. And I thought about it so many times, but I'm like, could you text that to me? But because I kind of wanted to listen to it again. Yeah. And maybe we can find it online somewhere. Somebody's posted it maybe or something. But it was so, like, even just how we're explaining it, it isn't as inspirational as he said it or as well said as he said it because we're, like, butchering it and paraphrasing, obviously. But I was like, that's something that some people might need to listen to multiple times, like when they're struggling or something.
And like I said earlier, where I said it kind of drug on, and I don't mean that in like a bad way at all. There were a few moments when he was speaking, I was like, oh, cool, this is the end of this. Like, not, oh, cool, it's the end, but like, that's a really good way to end this sort of speech that you're giving. And then it went on again to the next thing. I was like, oh, it would have been so much better if you just ended it there. Mm-hmm. But then he kept talking, and it's like, actually, that's very meaningful as well. This is great. Here's another spot you could end. And then he kept like going and going.
Yeah.
So it was like, it was all really good, really well done. I loved the message he was giving, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I feel like in the last 2 weeks, we've seen now 3 shows where people have opened up about their mental health and their struggles and what they've been struggling with over the last couple years.
It's definitely becoming more prominent, and I really like it, and I'm really glad bands are doing it to show, like...
Yeah, I really think bands, celebrities, whatever is a celebrity now, but like I think if it's more prominent in culture, which it is becoming way more prominent in culture, and hopefully states and governments and stuff will recognize it as well, but like I think bringing it more to an idol, not an idol, that's the wrong word too, but like a person that you look up to, or a person that, like, even for a band, like you listen to this band every single day or something, if they open up to it, it's like, oh, it looks like that they have a perfect life. They're touring, they're making music, they're doing everything I want to do, or I would wish I could do, or something. It's like, but they're struggling doing all that. It kind of brings it back to reality that everybody has mental.
Yeah, it also helps, like, just normalizing.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's like everybody has it. Like, it doesn't matter what your lifestyle is. Everybody has something. Yeah,
but I mean, just even normalizing it and making sure that, and people being more upfront and open about it is just a great way to, like, it's okay to have these feelings. It's okay to have this. Like, you're not alone. Everybody has it. Like, this is normal. This is life.
Right.
And like we said, Disturbed, we first started doing it in like 2019, thereabouts, with a reason to.
2018, the album came out. With
2018,
Yeah, they had like Hold On to Memories and Reason to Fight.
Evolution.
Yeah, with the Evolution tour. Yeah.
And that's the first time I remember, like, a band that we had seen in a big way bring mental health and addiction and incorporate it in such a way in their show.
Yeah.
And now other bands are not necessarily, like, this wasn't a major part of the show like it was with Disturbed, but it was, come out here, I'm going to say something, we're going to talk about it for a little bit. It's awesome.
Right.
And other bands are not those things are awesome, but it's awesome they're doing it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think other bands, like, in the past have mentioned it. Like, they'll mention, mental health. They don't really mention mental health, but just like demons is what everybody says is demons, which I understand calling them demons, because it's kind of like, what else the fuck do you call it? Like, like, oh, I had this feeling. Way to call it, too. It is, yeah, but otherwise it's like, I have this feeling in my brain and I don't know what it is. So
I was talking to somebody at work many years ago, and they were like, I can't remember what we were talking about, but it was essentially like, yeah, we all have our demons, or, like, our skeletons, our closets, our demons that we're struggling with. So, like, everybody's got it, and, like, you can't really fault people for necessarily having those demons. So the other, I guess, anything else about this aspect of the show or this part of the show?
No, I thought it was great, and I mean, I haven't listened to the music, but I want to listen to the music again. Yeah.
I did listen to the whole album, or not the whole album, the whole set list again. It's good. It's perfectly serviceable, perfectly fine. I enjoyed it.
What's it like listening to it on Spotify versus at the concert?
The concert's 100 times better.
Is it better?
So much fucking better.
Yeah.
Like I said, the music's great. I loved it. It was good to listen to, but it just didn't have the same vibe, the same energy for some reason. I don't know. It's got to be the crowd aspect.
Yeah.
And just even the live aspect of seeing the band jump around and perform.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the live set 100 times better than just listening to it on Spotify. And to be fair, I was sort of not actively listening. It was definitely passive listening while I was working in the background.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
So it was a bit hard to, like, pick up on. There was a song, I think it was Exit Exists, that I've listened to now a couple times. I was like, oh shit, that's really good. I really like that song. So that's sort of like, once again, passively listening, not paying attention. and then like a riff kicks in or something. I was like, oh, I like that. What's
Yeah.
going on here?
Yeah.
And having to stop for a little bit and look.
And then look, to see what song's
Yep.
playing. Yeah.
And the only other thing, real quick, before you jump in, another crowd interaction talk was back in 2020 again when they were overseas.
Oh yeah.
And he was telling a story about that, and they had to cancel a bunch of shows.
Yeah, because they were in the middle of their tour when.
And their manager's like, the borders are closing. You need to get home now because they're from Minneapolis.
Yes. Yep.
But they're like, oh no, it's fine, because they were treating COVID as a joke, as I think I did too with my friends.
You did.
I was gonna lick a train door, but then I realized I'm not afraid of COVID. I'm afraid of feces on that train door, so I'm not gonna lick that door.
That was a good decision not to lick the door.
But I mean, like, we were even joking around a little bit about it too, because we had the first woman come back from China in Chicago, and she tested positive.
Yep.
And
the suburbs, but yeah.
But yes, Chicagoland. Yeah. And they were like, we were doing the same thing. We were coughing in each other's faces. We're making fun of it. Like, we're making fun of the whole situation. And the borders are closing down. It's like, oh shit, this is actually real. We need to get the fuck home.
I think you said that, like, I mean, granted, this has nothing to do with the concert, but I think you said they got the call at like 4 a.m. and within 15 hours they were on a plane home, which is great to hear that they could do that, because there's so many people that couldn't just jump on a plane and come home. So
I really enjoyed all the crowd interaction, because now that I'm thinking about, there's another one where he talked about the intervals. The first day of their tour, the intervals came on.
I forgot about this.
Their tour bus, and they're like, here's some bread.
Yeah.
They're like, where'd you fucking get this? Oh, we made it on our bus. We make bread on our bus.
Yeah.
And he's like, what the fuck is going on here? And it reminded me of that Anthony Bourdain episode where he goes to Canada.
Yeah.
And he's just with like these, you think they're like sort of hillbilly type people out fishing, and every time they cook, they just pull black truffle out of their pocket and like, here, have a pound of truffle. And it turns out these are like restaurateurs, like they own 4 or 5 restaurants, like all Michelin star restaurants. And these guys are just like the nicest fucking people who love eating good food, good wine.
Yeah.
But they're just down to earth.
Yeah.
And that's the vibe I got from that story as well. It's like, we're here to play music, but at the same time, we need to eat well. We need to have good bread.
Yeah.
So that was fucking awesome.
Yeah. I don't know if I think we got on the whole COVID thing and them getting home from COVID, but they were on tour with Spiritbox.
So that's the other one. Yeah. He said he was in a green room waiting there.
Yep.
And he's like, that's another story again, right? Where he's like, I heard this amazing voice. We went out and checked, and there's this beautiful woman singing. And then on stage was this bass player playing this great riff, this beautiful man playing bass, and then this beautiful man playing guitar, and another beautiful man on drums. And we formed a great friendship, and here we are with them again in the opening for
It was like, it was real music.
Yeah.
That's the part that got me to laugh, was when he was like, it was real music.
Yeah,
but then it was interesting because that was the first day when they were on tour, because I think they saw that they were with Spiritbox and then intervals. But it is kind of weird, or not weird, that's the wrong word, but like they're going on tour with his band, and it almost seemed like from his story he didn't know who he was on tour with.
So I didn't take it as that it was part of this tour. I took it as part of the 2020 tour that they were on.
Oh,
they were like a festival or something,
and then they saw them playing. Oh, okay, so they weren't like on tour together. They just were playing at the same place that Spiritbox was playing. Got it. That makes more sense, because I'm like, how do you not know who you're going on tour with? I mean, maybe you don't.
Maybe not. Maybe you're getting paid, so it's like, whatever. We'll
show up at this time and do this thing.
Let's do it. Are we gonna like their music? Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll like the music. If not, you're still getting paid. Like, all right, fuck it, whatever. Give me money and I'll show up where I need to show up.
That's true.
Maybe, but I bet a lot of bands, when they do get booked, if they don't know about the band ahead of time, which I doubt that happens, they instantly look them up and like, all right, yeah.
I doubt if I bet bands know who.
I think so.
Who they're touring with.
But yeah, I really enjoyed the crowd interaction here. Sometimes it can get a little old, a little annoying, but I didn't get annoyed at all with the crowd interaction.
That's good.
The performance on stage was fucking amazing. The sound was awesome. I really enjoyed it. The crowd was awesome. A lot of crowd surfers going up over. A pit opened up. And the music's great to listen on Spotify, but a live show is so much fucking better than just the music. How about you? I know you had pulled your phone up to talk about a song.
Yes. So, is there a particular, since you've listened to it since the show, is there a particular song on here that reminds you of another song of a band that we've seen multiple times?
I don't know. Like I said, I've only been passively listening. So.
Okay. Well, even at the concert, I picked up on it right away.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
What is it?
So, Behold the Crown has a guitar riff.
Okay.
I'm not going to say exactly because I don't want them to get sued or anything. But it's very, very similar to Surfacing from Slipknot.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. Yeah. If you want, we can pause and I'll cut this if you want to listen to it.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Because we can't put it in, obviously, because it's copywritten music.
Yeah, yeah.
But we're
you're
going to...
saying Behold the Crown and Surfacing.
Yes. So I would listen to Behold the Crown first and see if you can, like, pick it up.
All right.
But, okay, so we're going to pause. I'll cut it in because we can't play the songs. But, okay, we're back. Brian listened to the 2 songs that I was talking about.
I can hear it. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's 100% identical, but it's very similar.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
I don't think it's like suable worthy. Who just got sued?
Somebody got sued.
Yeah, Ed Sheeran got sued for some song. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really follow Ed Sheeran music, but
it happens a decent number of times. I think where people do it.
I'm sure it happens a lot more, but this one actually made it to court, and I guess Ed Sheeran played the song for the jury.
Oh,
and
really?
so people were like, "Oh, it's like a free concert."
I know our friend group growing up, Kyle, Jerry, Jake, they hated Papa Roach.
Okay.
Because they basically lifted a Iron Maiden riff as well.
Okay.
And that one to me is so much closer than this is.
So I guess that's the thing is it's not identical, but as soon as I heard that, I was like, I need to listen to Slipknot.
Yeah.
So it's going back to what you were saying, how when you were listening to the intervals, you were like, oh, I need to listen to Chimera. As soon as I saw that, I was like, I haven't listened to Slipknot forever. Like, I should listen to Slipknot now. But I think that they're very similar. I'm not saying it's the same. I'm just saying it's very similar.
So I've had thoughts on this kind of stuff for a long time, actually.
The riffs?
No, just music copyrights and copyrights in general.
Okay, got it.
I guess in my mind, there's only a finite sets of notes you can play.
Understood.
And in a certain particular order. So why should somebody who played these 3 notes in this order first be allowed to copyright it and nobody else can do that? And there's been cases where people, I can't remember exactly who, but there was like I can't remember what song it was, but
great conversation.
We heard about it in Hollywood Babylon. Whoever this particular person was, they wrote their song. The original writer of a different song said, you stole my riff, you stole my music, give me money. And this artist who apparently copyrighted listened to it and they're like, huh, shit, you're right. I did not mean to do that. Let me give you some royalties. Like, just without going to court or anything, just being like, you're not wrong. So here you go. I'll cut you in. So I don't know. It's always been super weird to me. There was, I think, a lawyer and a mathematician, and either a lawyer. I'll have to find this article and read this too. But there was a computer science doctoral candidate or something, and a mathematician or composer or something, where they went through and produced every single possible using AI and computers and obviously computers, but they wrote a program to generate every single combination of possible notes out there in the universe, and then copyrighted every single one, and then released it into the public domain with the intent of ending these lawsuits.
Oh, okay.
Of copyright infringement lawsuits. I'll have to dig that up and look. It was very interesting.
That'd be kind of interesting to talk about.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a 666 on that or something.
Yeah.
But I've always sort of thought of like, why is somebody who's just strung these 3 notes together the very first time allowed to copyright it and nobody else can use that song without paying them? I get it to some extent, but at the same time, these are naturally occurring notes potentially. Like I don't know.
I guess to me on these 2 songs, the only reason why I brought it up on these 2 songs is it's even got the same like cadence to me personally. One of them I think is like I don't know if the right term is like an octave lower or something, but it's like one note lower, so it's not as I'm gonna say screechy. It's not screechy, but I mean, because it's like
Yeah.
I shouldn't even like try it, but just how it goes. Like if you listen to the two songs, it's very similar, but I also don't really agree on the whole you sue somebody because the song sounds similar to yours. Like, did you really invent it? Because okay, go back to Silicon Valley where they do this whole thing where like this guy like bought the copyright to a song so that he could sue a whole bunch of people that used it later in life. Well, then the main character of Silicon Valley uses his AI or his algorithm to find a song that was written before that song to sue him. So almost back to what you're saying is the cadence and everything is the same. I mean, now if you take Behold the Crown and sing it as Brian's band, it, and say it's yours. Now that's a little different.
That kind of gets into the idea of covers then.
Yeah, I think covers you need permission though, don't you?
I would assume so.
But what about tribute bands?
See, yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah.
Now we're going down something again that we don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's all confusing and just way too overdone. I get it. Like, I wrote something. I need to be compensated for my art.
Yeah.
Like, I'm making a living off of this. I'm trying to sell this as art, and it 100% is art. I get that, but if you're not using the exact same, I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say because like there's only so many notes you can play.
Yeah.
In so many rhythms and in so many octaves.
I think it would be cool to write a song. I can't do this. Somebody else would have to do this, but write a song and then give that song to 10 different people and say, write lyrics to this song.
Oh, yeah.
And then you basically have that one song and
it's totally different.
Right. Every song is going to be different then because it's from the only thing you're changing then is the vocalist, the lyrics that they produce to the song.
Yeah.
And you can even do the reverse where you write a song from a lyrical standpoint. Say Corey Taylor writes a song and then he gives those lyrics to 10 different bands and says, write music for these lyrics.
Yeah.
And then seeing what those come up with. I think that'd be a lot of fun to see and hear. And to some extent, Metallica did that with the Black Box.
I was just going to say that with the Black Box because, I mean, how many times do they play Enter Sandman or Nothing Else Matters or whatever?
And
it's like,
song is different.
It is so different.
It's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
I didn't even put that together until just now.
I mean, even thinking about Disturbed with Sound of Silence and Simon and Garfunkel, like, it's the same exact song. Yeah. One I can't stand to listen to and one I enjoy. So I know you like both of them, but I think how Disturbed does it, it just makes it more enjoyable on my behalf, like on my thoughts.
I guess that's slightly different than what I'm thinking also now that the more I think about it because
it's the same song.
You're using the same vocals and to some extent the same
I get what you're saying.
And like the rhythm and
you're
notes.
Saying just give them the lyrics or just give them the instrument, the music. And then you write lyrics or you write music based on what you're hearing or feeling.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is a little different because the lyrics are going to be the same obviously, but the sound is going to be different because you could have different cadence of how the lyrics go and how the how drawn out the lyrics are, or how short they are, like pauses and everything. So
I guess we just did a 666 in the middle of our episode almost.
We did. So this is why we do 666s, everybody, because we go on tangents all the time. And then our episode that I think is going to be 40 minutes is already over an hour.
Yeah. Anywho.
We haven't even talked about Spiritbox yet.
After the Barrel, like I said, fucking awesome band.
Yeah, they're great. I need to listen to them again. Yeah.
Spiritbox.
Yeah, Spiritbox. Let's get to the band that we're talking about.
Headliner tonight, the Eternal Blue Tour, as we had already mentioned.
Which is their new album.
Their newest album, yep.
Okay.
I believe. Almost 100% positive.
I think you're right. It came out in 2021, she said.
15 songs total. We have, starting with Sunkiller, Hurt You, Yellow Jacket, Rules of the Nine, The Void. I don't know this song. Halcon? Halcon?
Halcyon. It's Halcyon.
Circle with Me. Hella Good, which is a No Doubt cover.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did pick up on that. I was like, oh, this is fucking awesome when they were playing it. And
I forgot about No Doubt, honestly.
I was really hoping it would be recorded so we can add that to the playlist, but we were unable to add that one.
Oh, okay.
So I thought about
adding No Doubt.
We can just add No Doubt. But it's like it's not the same.
Yeah.
But it Hella Good, No Doubt cover. It was a hella good time, I thought.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that bit. Rotoscope, Secret Garden, The Mirror Effect Part 3, Holy Roller, Hysteria, Constant, and Eternal Blue. Ending on the title track from the album as well, the title track for the tour. You had mentioned, I think when we left, you were interested if they had played the entire Eternal Blue.
Yes, yeah, because I didn't know if they did or not.
They played all but like 3 tracks, I believe it was.
Yeah.
So the vast majority of this was the Eternal Blue tour.
Yep.
Or album.
Album, yeah.
And again, I listened to this a couple times now. It's not all that heavy.
It's not. I mean, even when we were watching it, I didn't think it was that heavy.
Yeah.
Where when we saw them with Ghost in Green Bay.
And Carcass.
Yep, Ghost and Carcass. I felt like when we saw them there, which they were opening, so they played for like 30 minutes-ish. But I felt like it was so much heavier than this night.
I did too. That particular performance, that particular set was not insanely heavy, but it was a heavier set.
Yeah because even my aunt commented, because we did an episode on that. We could possibly link that somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere
up there. I don't know how to do that. Do you know how to do that?
We'll figure it out.
Okay, cool. So my aunt listened to that and she's like, oh, I'm gonna check out Spiritbox. You guys talked really good, like you talked them up or whatever, or you really like them. And so I told her, I was like, oh, start with Circle with Me, because in my mind it's a little bit mellower or whatever. So, but listening to this album, maybe it's just this album is softer, because she did even mention, like, I love our fans because you guys allow us to do, softer songs, heavier songs, heavy songs, or soft songs with heavy, like that whole thing. So possibly the album is just a lighter album.
Yeah, and she mentioned that after Holy Roller, that was there were 2 tracks after that before they ended.
3.
And 2.
No, there's 3.
3, you're right. There were 3. Where she's like, we're going to end on slower stuff. Holy Roller was it for the fast stuff. Our fans are great for letting us and being okay and emotional enough to like just open up and just say, hey, this is cool to hear these slower, more emotional songs after something so hard. We don't need to end on a hard track like a lot of people do.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's kind of cool. I get that. But at the same time, I was like, honestly, any band who ends on their ballad or their slower stuff, the fans are going to be fine with it too.
Yeah.
They're going to walk over.
The fans are happy no matter what. Yeah.
And they paid money to see you. So like,
yeah.
So I get what she was saying, but at the same time, I was like, meh. I don't know.
But that's the thing. Like, I don't know their albums that well, because the songs that I've listened to are heavier as well. And that's why when going into the concert, I thought that it was going to be a heavy concert. So when you're like, I don't think there's going to be pits, I don't, like all that stuff, I was like, I think there are going to be, because in my mind, it was going to be a heavy night. And it didn't turn out that way. It was very almost, is psychedelic the right word?
There were definitely psychedelic elements. Yeah. And
it reminded me a lot of Mastodon concerts, like how we didn't even talk about the stage setup or anything. But
I wanted to get back to that real quick. Yeah, because when it started, they dropped a curtain down, but it was like a see-through curtain.
A see-through curtain, yeah.
And they take the stage. So before that, the other band was using the same stage set up a little bit. They didn't get as much freedom to walk around as most bands don't get to do. But they had these LED backlit screen and then like steps that went up, and you had your drum kit on the platform. So on our side of the stage was Spiritbox's drum kit up on this platform, and on the other side was Interval's drum kit. That
you mean
nope, Intervals.
Oh, Intervals was up there?
After Buried Me, we had the middle, It was on the ground.
Oh, okay.
But the intervals were up there as
Okay.
well. So it's like this like tier behind with steps down the middle, and then behind that even where it was like another LED screen that would project images and pictures and whatnot,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So they had all that, but then the screen dropped down, and I don't know how they did it, but it must have been something projected from the back onto it, or yeah, it must have been.
It had to be, yeah.
Because it didn't come from behind them, so it was in front of the stage projected on this. But there were like these laser-esque squares that would come in, and these geometric shapes that would like sort of come in and out of each
that's
other.
the psychedelic thing that I'm talking about. It's
Right,
like
yeah.
the movement of the images and everything, and it really reminded me of Mastodon, because Mastodon does that, or at least what we saw, the one show we saw.
Yeah, they have laser aspects, and they on their screen as well. They have like more of that. I don't know what it is. I think it's like water and oil on a. Remember those projectors from high school where you would have the overhead projectors,
Mm-hmm.
where I think you can do that with like a piece of paper where you put oil and water and you put different color ink, and it like swirls around.
Yeah.
They have that sort of like swirling water and color effect
Yeah.
going on.
It reminds me of I don't know what they are,
kaleidoscope?
but like a kaleidoscope, yeah, like where you go like this and
Yep,
you like
yep.
turn it and it like changes the picture. Yeah.
I really enjoyed that aspect of their show where it was that as you said, like the sort of psychedelic show, like imagery going on along with the show.
Yeah.
It fed into the music really, really well. I felt like.
And that's what I'm saying. Like the music really had that feeling too of like it was just more mellow and more like just watch the shapes and that sort of thing.
I was really enjoying that, but at the same time I was getting really pissed off of the crowd.
Oh.
Because at this point, every fucking person, at least over by us, had their cell phone up.
Yes.
And I couldn't see a goddamn thing because there's all these
Yes.
fucking cell phones just recording the entire fucking thing.
Yeah. And it wasn't recording in front of their face. It was holding it up.
Yeah.
So nobody, and then they would like the person in front of them had their cell phone up. So then they would try to hold their cell phone higher. And it was just like, I couldn't see any of the stage.
Yeah.
Like it was blocked from cell phones. So I was watching it through a screen.
And this went on for 3 songs.
Oh, the drop down thing.
Yeah. Korn did something very, very similar for their set.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the first thing I thought of when this happened. Was
Yeah.
like, but the thing with Korn's is it would come down and up, down and up. And I was like, okay, normally you're going to play one song with the curtain maybe, or you're going to start and then you're going to drop the curtain. And that's what I expected. But no, the entire song went on with this curtain. I was like, all right, fine, you're going to drop it now. Next song went on. And just same thing, more effects, more lighting and whatnot.
Yeah.
And she would come up and like rub her hand on the screen from time to time as sort of, performing for the crowd. It was really cool to see. But then the third song, and I'm getting pissed because like I can't fucking see anything of the band. I can't see anything anyway because all these fucking phones. So I was getting very irritated.
Yeah. Yeah. Like cell phones have become a really bad thing. I don't know.
And I've noticed
I don't know how to say it nicely.
Yeah, I didn't really notice it at other shows. Like, I haven't noticed as much at other shows lately. But this one was just extra bad.
Yeah, that's true. Because, I mean, we've seen a lot of shows recently, and this was the worst one that we've seen. There was, I can't even remember. Oh, it was when we saw Metallica at the 40th. I saw so it wasn't where we were standing, but I saw a picture from it. And James was like overlooking the crowd on the opposite side of like where we were standing, but the picture is him like playing or like singing to the crowd or like overlooking the crowd, but all you see is people with their cell phones up because he's so close to the crowd they want to take a picture. And when I saw that picture probably on Instagram more than likely, because that's I guess all I do with my life is look at Instagram, but all I thought was this is the 40th show. 40 years ago, that would have been fans with their horns up or something in his face, and now he's overlooking the crowd with cell phones in his face.
You don't even see the fans; you just see like a screen, like maybe like over the eyes and shit.
Yeah, like, and I think it was when we saw after our first show back after COVID was Green Day.
Yeah,
and they made a comment to the crowd that saying like, put your cell phones away. You've been looking at screens for fucking 18 months. Like, put your phones away. And ever since then, like, we've kind of followed that rule. Now with this, we take pictures for content, which even this night, I almost wanted to tell you, like, don't take any pictures. Like,
I thought about it.
Set an example of like, I don't need to have my phone out.
Or I was just going to take pictures of all the cameras. This was one thought of like, well, this is our view. And so when I do photos, I know I'm not getting the first like 1 or 2 songs.
Yeah.
Because everybody's going to like, they want to see how it comes out. They want to see how it opens. And I was like, it's not worth it. So I'll do photos later on. Again, though, for the first 3 songs, I was worried that like we're just going to have the screen all night. Because it was really cool. Don't get me wrong.
It was cool,
The graphics on the screen, it all played into the music. The whole performance was great. I really enjoyed it. But I was also getting really frustrated by it at the same time. It's so weird. This is definitely something I would like be in the balcony and just be cool hanging back.
Yeah. I thought that too. This concert I would have enjoyed to be in the balcony too, I think.
Yeah. But when I do photos though, it's put the camera up and I'll try to do it in front of my face. Sometimes I'll pull it up a little higher and it's just take a photo and I just hit over and over and over and over and over.
To get 1,000 photos per concert.
And I hope I get 1 or 2 good ones.
Yeah.
And I knew I had to get 8 for them because there were 2 openers. So we did 1 and 1 for the opener.
Yeah,
and then
we try to get 10 photos to post for every show. So depending on how many openers and like how good the openers are too. Because sometimes we have to do 2 or something, but we try to do 10.
Yeah. And so I was like, all right, I guess we're going to be mainly openers for this night because I got pictures there. But yeah, and then the camera goes down and we'll take a 30-second video for Instagram as well for the story or something. But otherwise, try not to take too many videos, try not to take too many photos, and just live in the moment and enjoy it.
Yeah.
What the fuck After the Burial was saying, like live in the fucking moment.
Yeah.
So and we've talked about this, like we're just not into rewatching shit on our phones.
I mean,
other people are. I've heard of people who like record the whole thing and will watch it over and over and over.
Yeah. And I think it was the first Avatar concert that we went to at House of Blues, 2018.
Something like that. Yeah.
I pretty much recorded like every song. Well, 5 songs, so not every song. But anyway, I mean they were with Trivium, so they probably didn't play that many, probably like 8 or 9 songs. But I did watch those a lot. Now I don't because we're busy doing other things, but I would listen to them because it's like I need that fix of like a concert, which I kind of think about that too, where we go to a lot of shows, so we have the live music aspect, and maybe these people aren't, so they're wanting to capture it.
Maybe, yeah.
The thing that got to me, which you told me last night, you can save Snapchat stories.
Oh,
which
yeah, you didn't know that.
I did not know that. I don't use Snapchat. I didn't know that. So I was like, at first, I told you last night, I was like, I'm just pissed that they all had their phones up and they were all recording with Snapchat. Like, it goes away in 24 hours. Like, what the fuck? But the thing that I think that people were doing is they weren't recording for themselves. They were recording to say, hey, look at me. I'm doing this. Which, I mean, granted, people could say that about us because we're recording a podcast 3 days later after the show to be like, hey, look at what we did. But we're talking about this because this is what we enjoyed doing. Yeah. So, I mean, that was the thing that was irritating me that night. Well, one, I didn't know that you could save them. So I'm like, what's the point of even recording the whole song if you're not going to be able to look at it again? But then also it's like, you're uploading this to social media to say, I'm doing this thing.
And sort of the other point with the pictures that we take and put up there is sort of here's the view, what you can expect from this part of the venue or the arena or something.
Yeah, and that's why in the podcast we say we were sitting on this side when we took this picture, or unfortunately we had to stay way in the back when we took, so I mean, we don't put those into this podcast or on YouTube or whatever, but I mean, it is to show the venue, the band, like what you could see, like any special props. Like I know with Alma Marth, like they had like Loki came out and stuff.
Yeah, the Viking fight.
Yeah. So it's like little things like that. Yeah. Like this is what you could experience for the show. Like if you didn't make it, this is what the show was. So that is true. Like that's what we're doing it for. We're not doing it to say like. And granted, I don't know if these girls in front of us were doing that either, but that's how I took it.
Yeah. But I mean,
We're getting really long again because we just went on a rant about cell phones.
Yeah. So, I mean, getting back then to the music, the curtain finally did drop, and that was awesome. And that same sort of effect followed into those LED screens that were on the platforms back. And behind the platform on that stage. And the band utilized the whole stage great. Like, going up and singing from up there, the bass would go up there, the guitar would go up there. Everybody was moving around. It was a really good show. It was a really good performance. Yeah. A bit softer for me, like I said.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
I expected harder because the first time we saw them, it was, holy shit, this is harder than I expected. And then I did think about this because the very next day after that concert on the way home, we listened to it in the car. And when we were listening to it in the car, I was like, this is not the same show
I remember having that comment, yeah.
Like, this is a lot softer than I remember. How is that possible? They were so much harder last night. And she's got such great range with her voice where she does the clean vocalists, and it sounds amazing. She's got such a great voice. But then she can switch on a dime and do the harsh vocals.
Growls,
the growls, and it's so effective, so really good. I love her vocals so much.
Yeah, which is what got me with her when we saw them in Green Bay.
Yeah,
was that because like almost every single song had that. Holy Roller is a really good example of that. Like, and if you don't understand what we're talking about.
Yeah, and for that song, she came out in Green Bay and like a whole. Not like a speech, or she had like a little bit that went along with the song.
Oh, I don't remember.
I can't remember what it was. I was hoping to hear it again here.
Yeah.
But it just went right into Holy Roller.
Yeah. The other thing I noticed, I mean, granted, that was her opening, and then this is a headlining show, but here I felt like she was more done up, might be the wrong word, but more like show presence or whatever. Where when we saw the band in Green Bay, she just had a skirt on and a band shirt.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that's about. Maybe on the night she just had a band shirt on, and this was just part of it.
Basically, I think wore the same thing, but but it was white.
Oh, okay.
This was all black. It was like a coat, almost like a trench coat. Not a trench coat, but like a big
jacket,
jacket, and a skirt on this night as well.
Yeah. I mean, which is fine. I'm not commenting on what I just. It's the difference between the two shows, which maybe that this look does go more with like the softer music and everything like that.
And I don't know if like opening, because they were the first opener, and then it was Carcass, a death metal band.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's like, all right, we need to be a little heavier for this particular set.
Maybe.
I don't know what the rest of their show looked like before that because they were with Mastodon. So maybe it was a little bit more softer and into this more. Yeah. Into more of like what we saw this night with that as that part of the leg. But Mastodon couldn't be there because they were jumping off to a different festival or something. Yeah. So Carcass came in, and it's like, so I don't know if that played into it, but I do definitely remember being like, this is harder. Yeah. I really like Circle With Me and Holy Roller. Those are the only two songs of the whole night that I knew. But and I really wanted to hear Holy Roller live again. But I really think I could probably get into the songs more if I knew the lyrics. It's one of those bands where like it's softer, but the lyrics are really good as well. So it's like I could really get into it. There are moments in like a few songs, maybe all of them, are definitely a handful of songs where the big lyrical drop, I guess, I don't know what to call it, but like here's the sang of the song, like that's going to lead into the chorus or something along those lines would pop up on screen word by word. Yeah. And I know a few people around us were like, holy shit, here it comes. And like when that came up, they would like sing as loud as they could. Yeah. The crowd was getting super fucking into it. Crowd surfers, pits. Again, I don't view this as like a pit performance. Like this, it wasn't heavy enough for me to like start a pit, but people were into it, which is awesome. Good for you for being into it. That's fucking awesome. I do really enjoy the music, but I don't know. The performance wasn't as good. I didn't enjoy the performance as much as we did in Green Bay because I was excited to see this. That night I wasn't too excited because I think going back to House of Blues, I was kind of like, okay, let's just get this over with. We're going to House of Blues. But I was, the first half, I was just,
See, it's so hard to say. It's so hard to say. I was like disappointed. I was like, this isn't what I expected from when we saw them in Green Bay.
Same. I was upset with the screen.
The phone. The drop down screen.
But I think mainly my thing I was upset about were the phones.
Were the phones, yeah.
Once that dropped, though, the phones kind of went down for the evening.
Yeah.
They did pop up from time to time, but it wasn't as bad as those first 3 songs.
The 2 girls in front of us were all night, every single song.
Yeah, but I mean, this is their thing, so it's like,
yeah,
I guess. I get what you're saying, like, I need to be seen doing stuff type things. Like, I can see that mentality. Or maybe that's just, I don't know, us being old, being like, that's what all kids do anymore. They need to be on social media and they have to let people know.
We are the old people at these concerts.
We are now, yeah. and as I said earlier, I didn't enjoy the performance, which is a lie. I really did enjoy the performance. I thought the song was great. I thought the set design was great. I thought the effects were fucking phenomenal. Like that screen and what they did with that was awesome. And then how they incorporated those LEDs, like the screens behind them, which could have turned really bad. I hate the backlight.
Oh, right.
But this I didn't have any problem with because it wasn't so bright.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just white all the time.
Yeah.
You had blues and reds and pinks and purples and yellows and oranges, like the entire fucking rainbow of colors in here, right? So the overall performance and stage and the music, everything was great. I really enjoyed it. I just, as you said, expected something so much heavier.
Yeah, I think that's where, so it isn't that we hated this set altogether. It was not what we expected when we went in.
Yeah.
Because you were like, I don't know exactly what you said, but you're like, that was a lie. Like, because we enjoyed it.
Yeah.
At first I was disappointed, but then I really got into it. And I think the cell phone thing really, once the cell phones went down, it was a little bit better.
And then that's going back to the cell phones. Like that's another reason why we hate House of Blues, right?
Yep.
Is because you can't move now.
Yeah.
If we're at Radius and we're in a, like, on our side, there were a lot of cell phones. I looked over to stage left, and there didn't seem to be as much.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, if we're at Radius, I'm going to go over there. I might not be as close.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'd rather have a view of what's going on than be as close.
Yeah. To see the band that I came to see instead of looking at somebody's cell phone.
But I can't do that.
Yeah.
If I go back, I'm now stuck back by the bar, which has shitty fucking sound, if I can even get back that far. Can't even get to the other side where there's no screens. Yeah. But at other venues that are larger and have a better setup, it's easier to move about. Yeah. So, well,
even, I mean, it's not about the largeness, I don't think. It's the setup because, like, you have to go up the stairs and then back down. And, like, you're not doing that in the middle of the set.
I did see there was one guy, this massive dude, like, so tall, broad shoulders, just this big man. Went to the bathroom in between, and he tried to get, like, we were by his friends, and he tried to get back, and he's like, I think the security guard's like, no, you're not going to fit. And so he had to, like, sit back. Eventually, he did let him go down onto the floor, or maybe he didn't. Maybe he was getting a beer and drinking his beer up there and then throwing it away. But I took it as, like, the security guard's like, there's no fucking way you fit in there.
Is it the person that left between the, after the burial in Spirtibox?
Yep.
Yeah, so... He made it back.
He did make it back.
Because he was in front of us.
I saw that. He did. But I don't know what it was, but in my mind, the narrative, again, that I'm writing is security guard's like, you're a big dude and it's packed down there. You're not going to be able to fit.
Yeah. And, I mean, we've talked about this with The Forge and now House of Blues multiple times. When it's this packed, it's not enjoyable.
No.
I mean, maybe if we were in the middle of the floor because the middle of the floor was moving, then it's a little bit better where this... I don't know. I don't know where the good spot is to stand or to be.
Yeah.
I'm almost. I mean, we're gonna go see bands at House of Blues. That's for sure.
Because they're gonna keep going there.
But
unfortunately,
I feel like it's gotten worse since Live Nation took over. When
did they take over?
I don't know, but I noticed it after 2021.
So I noticed it after 2020 as well.
Yeah.
Because
are they selling more tickets?
I don't know what's going on. Right. Like I just don't know. Everything seems to be selling out, which is great. Like we said, it's great for the bands, 100%. It's great for the industry, it's great 100%. For fans, it's great all around. Everything's great about it.
Yes.
The problem is this particular venue sucks when it's sold out.
Yep.
You go to a different venue.
I mean, even the Concours was sold out for Wage War, and it was packed.
Right.
But it wasn't like this where you couldn't move. You could move around. You could go to the bathroom if you need to. You could go get a beer if you needed to.
Yeah.
you could step back out of the crowd if you need to for a second. Like,
yeah,
it's not the same.
It's not a good venue, I don't think anymore. I'm a little upset about it. I used to love this venue, and now it's very low on my list.
Yeah, it's low on my list too. But
there's one other thing I wanted to bring up. I don't know if you noticed this, and this was a little I'm not sure where I fall yet, actually.
Okay.
There was a lot of backing track to this performance as well.
Oh, okay.
And I pick it up when I listen to the music as well.
Oh, okay.
There's bits where there's, I don't want to say just noise, but there's certain effects, certain elements of the song that is clearly, it's tough to say where, like, there's certain elements of the song that are sort of overlaid on top of the music.
Okay.
And I pick that up when I listen to it as well. I heard that a lot this night as well. So there were moments where the guitar and the bass are just standing there. They're not doing anything. The drummer's taking a drink. And yet there's so much noise coming over in between. And then the guitar will pick up and play a couple notes and then put it down and let the other noise. So from a song composition standpoint, I think the songs are great. I think they work really well. But
from a concert view standpoint,
I don't know if I like it.
Yeah.
I don't know what I think about the backing track yet.
Yeah. I know a lot of bands so what band was it? It was one band this night, maybe after the burial, but they had some backing track as well. Or that might be the intro. No, because the intervals were all instrumental. But I even kind of looked around, and I don't think it was Spiritbox though. But I looked around to see if there was like a DJ.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of back. Maybe it was Spiritbox.
I think it was Spiritbox. Like,
yeah.
Slipknot, you have Sid back there, right, doing shit. So like, I just don't.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about, and I think I did the same thing. I just thought it was earlier in the night, but I looked around to see if there was a DJ, and I didn't see.
And I'm fine with intros being backing tracks and outros.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine. Bands do it all the time. Disturbed does it, and it's Sickness. Like, you always have that like wind up for Sickness. Metallic with Battery, I think that first bit of Battery is always backing track, which would be awesome if they go out there and just play it, and that'd be great. But whatever, I understand that, like, you do that. But the other instruments as part of the music that we don't have somebody out there playing that particular piece is now backing bit. I don't know what I think about that yet. I'm on the fence, but I'm leaning more towards I don't like it. And I don't know. I personally, sorry, I feel like I keep commenting on what you're saying, but I personally don't care for it. I get what you're saying. Like, if it's just like the intro or something like that, I'm with you there. Like, I'm fine with that. I don't necessarily like it throughout the song. For a couple of reasons. It kind of takes away from the performance, like you're saying, like where the guitarist will just be standing there, but there's music playing or whatever. And also, I feel like I shit on bands on different genres that do shit like that. Yep. And it's like, it's kind of hypocritical to shit on those bands, but then not shit on metal bands that do it. So yeah, I don't know. Like I said, from a song composition, if I listen to the music on Spotify or album or whatnot, right, I like it. The song itself is sound. It's a really good song.
Yeah.
But live is a different story for me.
Yeah.
I mean, like we said, all in all, great performances all around. From top to bottom of the bill. It wasn't quite what we expected, but it was still a good performance, still great music. Little things here and there to nitpick about, but I mean, the biggest thing, definitely the venue, and a few other things here and there. Cell phones for sure, right? But
you're not gonna be able to control other people.
You are not. You're right. Kind of going back to what After the Burial said, like, just control the things you can control and don't worry about the rest of it. Anywho, I would see them again. I don't know if I would. It's not a band like, oh my god, I have to see this. It's like, once again, festivals are great. We always go to festivals of like, if they're at a festival, for sure I'll check it out.
Yeah. But also, I think if I could see a performance like what we saw in Green Bay, I would definitely check it out again. This was just unexpected because we don't know the album.
I guess that's a good thing, right? Or an interesting thing of, we don't know what we're gonna get with Spiritbox. It's a mixed bag. You could get hard, or you can get mellow. Both performances are great.
Yep.
You're gonna enjoy both times.
Yeah.
But who knows what you're gonna get?
Yeah. Hey, maybe next time it'll be half.
Yeah. This was we'll see what the next album is. Maybe the next this may have just been a very emotional album.
Yeah.
And it was almost all that album.
Yep.
There were a few other tracks here and there, but playing all but 3 of this entire album,
100%. Yep, I understand.
But live music is awesome. Live music is great. You're gonna have interesting experiences.
Yeah, you know.
Especially if you see bands multiple times.
Don't know what you're gonna get.
So go check out some live music.
Yep. Bye.